In reality, to sum it up, the studio made me listen to myself, right? And by listening to myself, I started to have a. It's a horrible thing when you really hear how you play, right? Or how you sound. Ali Studio has no lies. You're playing with the band in the studio there. A lot of stuff goes by. Now you're in a studio listening to yourself without you. You're thinking about playing or wanting to hear yourself play, and you really see who you are.
There's that thing sometimes, for example, you did a show, an instrumental jam filmed with a cell phone, and you say, wow, man, that turned out cool. In a little while, you're going to hear the sound that went through the mixer, and you'll say like this, man, it's bad. Because in the chaos there with everyone together, and there's the ambience of the place, it disguises many little things there.
You understand where to place the microphone on the speaker, towards the center, sharper towards the edge, bassier. You start to understand the distance of the microphone. And in reality, all of this is very much related to your goal. So you kind of organize the sound in your head. You say, man, I need to have a clean sound, good. I need to have a light distortion, good. A heavy distortion, good. And a fuzz sound that I like, good. And then you start to hear the producers of the albums you're recording giving you some tips. Talking like that, no, man, I want that sound more towards Paul Jackson Jr. So you say, well, I know Paul Jackson Jr. I talk about Paul, then you're going to look for that reference. I want a sound that's kind of Hendrix. I want a sound that's more Van Halen. I want a sound that's more Steve Luke to have in that song. And then you start to fish for that, kind of making a sampler, right? Where do you want to get to? But it's an incredible experience. Got it.
But when did you come up with that, more or less, that key idea? It's been a long time already.
It's been a long time because I started recording very early. And I've always been curious. I never wanted to be inconvenient. So, we're going to have a recording. You can't bring an amp, so you have to use the amp that's there. So I already wanted to start messing with that line, since the more basic simulators like the Suns amp, because it was something you plugged in and the sound came out clean. I already found that interesting, but it wasn't one like the Suns amp. It was already really good, but when the little red pod came out, things got a bit better.
Remember it.
And today I think it's good.
I still have it today.
I used the first one a lot, the 2.0, that little bean. Man, I recorded a lot of albums with it. And I think if I have one today, I'll manage just fine. Because it was already good. I listened to the album, I recorded, and I think the sound is good like that.
I think the only thing it doesn't have that's cool is drive.
No, man, I actually like it. I would take it like this. I had some amps, and I could get to the sound, I liked it.
I recorded a lot with you, but you're talking about selecting a wide one, and that's it, and not a little drive stomp. No, an amp that already has distortion. I think his little drive stomp isn't cool.
It was basic, right?
I think it's very digital. You really feel it in your face that it's digital, but I liked it.
And in reality, things keep getting better and you keep improving until I reached my amazing partnership with Bose. And there really things opened up to a much broader universe. And today, are you using Bose? I still use Bose. In reality today, I've never stopped using Bose since I started, right? From GT5. Then for the GT8, in the GT8, we, thanks to Pepe, or actually to Sergio Mota, Mota went to the show, saw me using it and said, hey, call me on Monday, let's chat and stuff. Then I became a partner with Bossa there and I used the GT100, the VG99, I used the GT100. Used GT1, GT100 and GT1, 12. 13 years using them nonstop, inline directly. Then came the GT1000, the GT1000, the GT1000 Core, the Katanas, which are the amps we ended up with, including launching Generation 3. In reality, it's just that I've always used everything and I've always gone with my needs. I use the Kemper at the same time.
It's because the Kemper does a capture, Boss doesn't, right? It's just a simulation, right?
It's just a simulation, but with the latest ones, you can already include the impulse response of the cabinets, right? It's not a capture, they're their amp models, but you add the impulse response. The Kemper, for me, I started using it back when I was on The Voice.
And that's a one-way street.
It's a one-way street. The Kemper, for me, it's a weird thing, I made a profile of my Bogner, and like at a high volume, I get feedback in the headphones that it's something kind of unbelievable. The Kemper, for me, it's still I couldn't, even though there are a lot of good things, I still think the Kemper is the best, of profile, to capture the sound of the amps. And I know how to use the Kemper, so I think that helps too. Maybe if I get another one, maybe I'll get it. I'm currently using the Tonex as well. It's amazing. The Tonex is something. You can't believe that little thing has so much firepower and the sound is so good. The Tonex is amazing. It's just an amp, right? An amp.
And it's a capture too.
And it's a capture. I'm currently using the Kemper, the Tonex, and the stuff from Bose. That's what I've been using.
More like, have you ever seen the Fractal Quad Cortex? Yes.
I've already recorded with the Fractal, but I've never had one, right? So I've never owned one.
The big problem with the Fractal, everyone says it has a huge sound, but it feels like you're in NASA, right? What does Kiko say, right?
But the Kemper is like that too. The Kemper, I even think, when you look at it for the first time, you say, man, how am I going to figure this out?
It's not intuitive.
The Kemper, once you get the hang of it, becomes... Because the very look of the Kemper is already very enlightening. You know, you have certain effects. Once you're in place, the controls are like those of a real amplifier. So it's easy. Once you understand it, it's easy.
But I think there are some, I don't know if the Boss is like that. But I, for example, I'm looking to buy one of those. I'm a guy that in terms of technology, I'm kind of limited. You know, I have some blocks, right? So I like those that I find very educational. There, little pedal, big pedal. I liked it. I drag it out, touch the little noop. The little noop appears, you know.
There are several now already with this touch thing, right? What you do... So, you look at the display and adjust it. It's amazing, right? The Bose and the Kemper aren't specifically like that, but if I'm not mistaken, you have the Quad and the Sim. The Quad and the Sim. One that's really good is the 11 rack, which is actually the Head Rush.
The Head Rush was, that's what they're using at 2 in the morning. Yeah, the Head Rush. The Head Rush was the first to introduce the touchscreen when this new wave of pedal boards came out.
It was, Mitch. And the funny thing is, I had an 11 rack for many years. I liked it so much that when I got the Kemper, I made a profile of the 11, of my 11 presets. I still have it there and I use it. The plugins you're talking about, I already had a plugin from 11, so it's the same. But the 11 rack is a hardware that already has everything built in. It's that little orange one, by the way. I think if I find one, I'll buy it again because I like it so much. It's really good. It was the first high-end cool simulator, and when they launched the Head Rush, it was the first touchscreen that also works like that. It's an amazing sound. Any 11 Head Rush I get, I just grab it, and I'm already at home.
And it's a pedal board, price measures. It's about $4,000.
Yeah. The Gigbot, if I'm not mistaken, is $5,000, I think.
Yeah, because we're talking about Brazil. Yeah, over $4,000. It's cheap abroad.
Abroad, $300 made to $1. Marginal, really cheap, right? But it works really well. Dude, cool. I mess up the sound. I recorded a lot. And I actually miss it a little, to be honest. Because I was so familiar with it. I really separate things. You know, Mateus stuff for playing live and stuff for recording. So, I have a Boss pedal board, which is that BCB, the traditional one. And then I have a GT 1000 core, which is the smaller GT 1000. I have a DM 101, which is a delay that they released, and we launched this delay here. And I have some pedals that I won't swap out, which are my OCD. A fuzz, a compressor, my Octave fuzz from Niga, the Blues driver from Boss. So it's a pedal board that I put together for playing live, which also works in line. But I like to have something in the studio that's very dedicated. The Kemper stays there stored. The Tonex stays in a place so I can just plug in when I get there.
0 amp at home.
No amp at home. Many years.
A point of no return, I think that those who work a lot, especially those who are accompanying artists, won't have the option to not want to use something that has a simulator or capture.
We made one. I have some videos on YouTube, right? By the way, the YouTube channel, we are revamping it. Me, Chris, and Caruso. We're really refreshing this part of mine. Now that I have a little more time, I can go back being a guitarist. This is really good. But what's interesting, in reality, I even lost track of what I was saying.
Dude, you were saying that I said the following: those who are accompanying the artist, there's no going back when it comes to choosing whether or not.
Because when you get to the show, there's no amplifier. Sometimes the amplifier is bad. I already took a twin out of the box and it was bad. I couldn't use it. I already arrived at a place to play. I brought my little GT1. Taking my GT1, not sure what amp they'll have. The guy said there's a twin. I said, what if there isn't a twin? So I took my OCD, my overdrive, my blues drive, and my OCD. I only took those two and the GT1 up my sleeve. I got there and it was a Fender Performer 1000. No, it was a Fender Frontman. The Performer 1000 was good.
Frontman, how much?
It was the most powerful one, 100, I think.
100 got it?
But man, the Frontman is a terrible amp.
I have one at home.
It's tiny, it's really bad from the first one to the most powerful.
It's a transistor, right?
No, but Fender has some good transistor amps.
This isn't one of them.
I had the Rock Pro 1000. The Rock Pro 1000 was amazing. I had a deluxe. I had several Fender transistor amps that were really good. Man, this line is terrible.
It has a tendency towards the treble, right?
It's a sound that seems like you're plugging into a low-quality digital pedal board, you know.
And it has a thin sound, hard to get any body out of it.
Very ugly, very ugly. So I got there, and when I saw that amp, I already put my hand in my hair. The guy had just taken it out of the box, all proud, right? Man, I bought a Fender, a twin. And I said, dude, the guy didn't even realize it's not a twin. Did someone tell him it's like a twin? So the guy bought it. I even felt sorry for the owner who was from the Northeast. So I said, man, no, I can use it, but I'm going to use my pedal board in the loop. With a new one like this, a big Fender like that, are you going to use your pedal board in the loop? So I said, no, man, it's just that I'm already used to it. I have my own way and all. And the guy's sound system was really good. So I plugged in, asked for a direct box, connected my OCD, plugged in my GT1 and all that. Dude, when he plugged it in and played, the guy went like this. Man, what a great sound, dude. I said, no, this little pedal board is really good. Even though it's really cheap, it's a wonderful pedal board. GT1 from Bose. This is one that I also feel that way about. Still, it's a discovery. It's a daily discovery of mine, which is a pedal board that's really cheap. It's plastic from Boss, and it has a sound that I get sound anywhere, whether in the loop or through the amp.
This pedal board has something about it that worked really well. It has the same module as the GT100. And it was a pedal board I envisioned. It was a pedal board that when Boss launched it, it had some very interesting features. In comparison, for example, the GT100, yes, the GT100. Okay, I'm out. GT drive should have about 1500. I think the GT100 came to compete with the HD line from line 6.
It was,
and man, for me, it was very much like that. Step by step in terms of quality, it's also very robust.
I think the GT100 had something like that. I switched from a GT. When the GT100 came out, I switched for another GT100 because I was so used to it. I'm so used to it. That is, in any circumstance, if I need to go to a recording and take a GT100, I'm all set. It's because the GT1 is old. 15, 20 years already. No, there must be one that, no, there is, yes, because I used it from the launch of the GT100 until I switched to the GT100. I mean, I was using the GT1 last year until my band got it to work.
Right.
Is there, I think about 15 years like that. And so the GT100, it's one that I have a brutal skill with. Like that, if I grab any unprogrammed 1 in 2 seconds, 2016, man, it is.
GT1's 8 years old.
The GT100, it was released. The GT100 must be a little older. I think it's a bit more. I know that these pedal boards, for me, they are timeless, like that.
Oh, it's.
The other day, I found a GT5. A friend of mine showed me a brand new GT5.
2014, 12, 12, 12.
You see, it's that time. It came out in 2012. I've not stopped using the GT5. Actually, some broke by accident. They never broke down. A Marshall head fell on one.
There too.
Blue. There's a way, right? The screen broke and all. It was something horrible. I plugged it in and it was working. It just wasn't functioning with the fuse. I used it. I did the New Year's Eve show and Fabinho gave me a new one.
But that's the Boss standard of construction. Dude, it could be a nuclear attack and the pedal will still work.
It's no wonder that like little pedals, Boss, the compact pedals, anything from Boss for me. I've been using the Katana 100 since it was released, Generation 2. I used it for a year on TV. I did all the shows I could. Dude, it's an amp in C. Amazing. And it's a transistor, right? Z-Store. I love it. It's really good indeed. And we just launched Generation 3. Because it already has impulse response. It already has something more. Cool, man. But I still think it's wonderful. I also get used to equipment, and then I think as time goes by, I get bothered by not changing it. I don't really have that thing of, oh no, a new one came out, I already have it. Thor 4 is like that. When a new one comes out, knows all. It's crazy. It's crazy. He picks it up, he already knows how to use it, he already knows what's good. Anything I need. Torquato, what did you think of that pedal board?
The best is something new. And if you want to know if it's good, he's the first person to ask.
Yeah, ask Torquato. And even before the brand launches, I think Torquato already has insider information because when it comes out, he already knows everything.
It's impressive.